Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. Top of the evening to you. Wherever you are, whatever it is, happy Tuesday. Okay. Okay. Hopefully y'all are having a good morning so far. And if not, I am sorry about that. I'm just doing a little cleaning and because now the kids are officially back in school. Thank goodness for that. Ugh, 2 weeks off is ridiculous. I'm sure we had that when I was a kid. I'm 100% sure we had 2 weeks off every so often. I get it. It's dependent on you know how the holiday falls. We used to get even Easter used to be, we used to get like a week and 2 days off, but they don't do that anymore. There's no more days off for, they stopped that. They stopped the days off for Holy Thursday and Good Friday. Well, I guess, good morning, Candace. I guess they can't. I guess they really kind of can't because, nowadays, there's too many people who, may or may not be Catholic, you know. Yep, it's 9:15 here. Figured I would hop on and do a morning live. Don't mind me. I'm just opening my breakfast shake over here. No coffee yet. No, maybe later. So back when I was a kid, we used to get off for Holy Thursday and Good Friday at the Easter break time. Hi, Brian. Good morning. Or good day, yes, good day. They don't do that anymore. They stopped doing the Holy Thursday and Good Friday days off here in New York, anyways. I guess nowadays you can't go by that because not everybody is Catholic, and the kids, now with the kids with this Common Core shenanigans, they need every moment they can get. What's up with this shake? Feels very lumpy at the bottom. That would be bad. My breakfast all lumpy dumpy. I don't even like milk. So drinking protein shakes is definitely a new, well, it's not new to me. I've been doing it for a year now, but yeah. I don't think they get Good Friday here anymore. No. I think they stopped that too. Or maybe they get Good Friday. Oh no, maybe that's it. I think they get the Good Friday, but no Holy Thursday. Holy Thursday has flown out the window. I don't know. I didn't look at the schedule this year for what's going on. Well, like I said, they can't really do it too much anymore because everybody is a different faith now, and well, it's always been that way. Just and with Common Core, you want your kids to be in school as much as possible because you don't want them to fall behind. I mean, this Christmas break being 2 weeks as it is, that's kind of rough. I know there was talks for a while that they were going to extend the school year or something of that nature. My son, Jacob goes to summer school because, he's a special ed student. So, and I went to summer school when I was in high school, not because I was a bad student or anything like that. Good morning, Rick. I didn't go to summer school because I was a bad student or I was failing. It just that's what they do when you're in special ed. They keep you over the summer so you can continue to retain whatever it is you learned over the school year, or just giving kids a place to go because parents can't afford summer camp. It's I guess if the school's doing summer school, at least then the school district's taking care of it, which means the state's taking care of it. Your taxes are paying for it. Good morning, CCO. How are you doing? So I'm not against the idea of kids going to summer school. I did it in high school. I wasn't a failure. I actually had pretty decent grades most of the time. Um, you know, uh, I think the only class I ever went to summer school that I failed was Earth Science, and I think I'm not the only one because Earth Science is just flat out. Oh, and study hall. I remember those days. But back then we weren't allowed to have phones in school. Cell phones really didn't make a big thing until like, yeah, until like high schoolish. Um, but we weren't allowed them. Hey, Moses, good morning and cheers. How are you? So, so yeah, so I guess, the whole doing away with Holy Thursday and Good Friday, or just Holy Thursday. You know what? I didn't even look at the schedule this year. I always forget things. Oh, and see, that's another thing is here in New York, not everywhere gets this. We actually get a week off in February. That's our winter break. Yeah, the kids need a winter break and a spring break and a Christmas break. So they usually get, winter break is usually the week after Valentine's Day. Like I said, not every state gets that, I hear. Yeah, oh, you guys don't get that. Yeah, yeah. That's why when I was a kid, when I was in high school, that's when my mom would take us on cruises because they were cheaper then, because not every kid in the country got off from school that week. Yeah. So, but here we get off winter break. It's the week after Valentine's Day, and then you get spring break, which is usually the week after Easter. And oh yeah, 2 years. That's awesome. Two more to go. Yeah. Yeah. Isabel's in fifth grade, so she's got six more to go. 6, 5, 7, 7. But I wish they would do away with the Common Core thing, though. It's really terrible because it's like the way that we were learning as kids was hard enough, and I add this whole Common Core shenanigans, and it makes it even more difficult. I feel bad for these kids. It's making it so. And here in New York, we have special exams to graduate. We have what's called a Regents exam. So you have to, not all classes require a Regents exam, but you have to take, one Regents exam in most of the core classes. We have there's a Regents exam in Earth Science, Math 1, English 11, you can take the biology Regents, or you have to do. Actually, I think now you have to do that because now you need to have a Regents diploma. Not everybody had a. Well, I think we're coming to it though. Yeah. Unfortunately, to not go into politics. I mean, I guess it's bound to happen at some point, and sadly, I think this is it. I hope it doesn't happen. We could hope it doesn't happen, but it sure looks that way. I just saw an article this morning that was Rose McGowan. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Well, we're always going to be a target over here, unfortunately. But not all of New York. They want New York City. So, unfortunately, New York will always be a target because it is the epicenter of the country. Well, Trump Towers in New York City too. I'm sure they want that too. um, but we will always be the number one target because there's a lot of people here. There's a lot to destroy here, unfortunately. It's not something I'm afraid of. It just, when I was in high school, we always junior high school and high school, we had all kinds of drills for that. Well, 9/11, yeah. There was actually we also had that's not the first time there was an attack on the World Trade Center. There was a attack on the World Trade Center in was it 1990, something, or it was real early 90s. There was something that happened at the World Trade Center back then. So listen, it's yeah. Well, Moses, we have things going on here because, well, again, it's hard to talk about it because then you got to talk about whether you like, Trump or not like Trump. I don't like any politicians. If in my honest opinion, I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. I think they're all a mess. It doesn't really matter what side of the fence they all have. Oh, I thought my chocolate shake was all over my face, but Um, Marathon is a big oil company. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think New York City is just a number one. Just like I said, because it's got a lot of people there. There's a lot of people, and you got a lot of stuff there. You got the United Nations headquarters is there. You got, well, like I said, you got Trump Tower. Trump Tower is in Manhattan. Um, you know, um, there's a lot going on over there. A lot of people at a lot, and that's another thing is there's a lot of people at one place at one time. So, you know, unfortunately, when it comes to life, and things, sometimes you have to. Good morning, Jelly Duck. How are you? Sometimes in the scheme of life, with what's going on, you have to think about these things, and the perspective of these people, just to know what it is that they're looking for and I mean, listen, I don't know the whole story of what's going on. I honestly haven't been following the whole World War III thing, because I've been following what's going on in Australia. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Again, it's hard to talk about it because, on YouTube somebody may get upset, but I mean, some people will say that needed to happen, and some people will say that didn't need to happen. Um, I, my heart, at this rate is, for us, because this isn't on us. This is on however this went down. And my other fear is, when it comes to the military, the people who followed out that are they only were following orders. So I hope that they will be, that that this won't fall on them. And we have young men and women getting ready to go overseas again. And that's scary and sad. My heart goes out to them. I know when you join the military, that's what you're signing up for, but not really, not really. But I just hope that we could find some kind of peace here. Um, while we're sitting here and dealing with this in our country, I mean, my heart's going out to these people and the animals of Australia. Isn't that sad? Hi, Angry Stewie. Good morning. The poor people, the poor animals and people of Australia. I mean, that's just so devastating. Um, I've been following that. I was gonna go live last night at 9 o'clock, but I had seen that there was like a worldwide, because I'm a pagan. There was like a worldwide, prayer, in your own time, thing. We all pray at the same time. Good morning, Jeff. We all pray at the same time. It was at 9 p.m. Eastern time for rain. We were praying for rain to happen for Australia so they could have some gosh darn relief over there. um, while we could sit here and talk about, World War III, or, what this guy did and what that guy did. I mean, I think that's the saddest part of this all, is that the poor people of Australia and the animals, most importantly the animals, because, they're the innocents of all this. They're getting, this is why we need to change. We need to change because it's Taco Tuesday or Teller Tuesday in my world, because I'm a Sons of Anarchy fan. Um, that's a sad part of this all, is that, innocents are, losing their lives and their homes because of human destruction. I was just reading an article today, and it's through Yahoo, so I'm assuming it's, pretty reliable. They're telling, there's actually an order out there, um, telling the first responders now, if they find, joeys, those are baby kangaroos, or baby koalas. They're telling them to put them out, put them to sleep. Um, I mean, I'm not sure if the rescues are totally overwhelmed and that's why they're saying that. I hope that's not the case, because I think there's a lot of people out there who are really wanting to help save these animals. So I can't imagine the rescue saying, "Oh no, I don't want any more." I mean, they really. It's overwhelming, and they're kind of, having to. It does come to that at some point. But koalas are now functionally extinct because of the fires. So I just can't imagine the rescues, closing up the doors and saying, "No, no more." Um, I mean, the sad reality of this is now that these poor animals, their fate literally is to be locked up in a cage. I know that I'm not a fan of zoos. I've talked about this time and time again that I'm not a fan of zoos because, zoos just, it is what it is. But the sad reality of the fires in Australia is that now these poor animals suffer the fate of being locked up in a zoo in a cage. We've literally made it so we could save all these animals, but they don't have a home to go to when they're rehabilitated. And that's bad for the environment. I don't know if it's cruel for the animal, but I don't know if you realize that when we take animals out of their natural habitat, and whether we hunt them to the point of extinction, or take them and lock them up in a zoo, that actually messes up the ecosystem. Although now the ecosystem of Australia is literally that's it. It's crumbled. It's gone. Um, I mean, I don't even know if there is a way to come back from this. I've said for years, we need to really start taking really good care of, Mother Earth, because we only get one mother in this world, and once she's gone, we can't get her back, and she's going. Mother Earth is going, and we can't. There's a lot of people I see online just, you know, making such light of this, saying, "Oh, it's all gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right." No. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Australia, the whole country it's not even just a whole country, it's a continent which is on fire, and animals, they're saying millions of animals have died in the wake of all this. Um, and like I said, koalas are functionally extinct, which means that, there are koalas that are still alive, but there aren't enough to breed and make more koalas. So that's terrible. That's terrible. I don't know if they've said anything about kangaroos yet, or the other animals. Oh gosh, when I was a kid, I always wanted to get a sugar glider. Aren't they cute, the little sugar gliders? I mean, of course, I don't promote buying or selling animals. Unfortunately, a lot of unfortunately, a lot of wild animals have. There's actually more living in cages than there are in the wild. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. The saddest story of them all was Lewis the koala. Yeah, that's him, Lewis. The lady was driving by, and she took off her T-shirt and put him in her T-shirt, and put him in her car, and drove him to the sanctuary. The poor little guy passed on. He was just, they're just sustaining too many burns, and the smoke inhalation on top of the burns. I mean, I'm sure you know, um, that alone is probably just not, you know. I mean, years ago, I was living in a house with another lady, and she ended up having a fire in her room, which is caused by faulty wiring on the housing programs part. Now, I wasn't present in the fire, but the after effects coming into the house and having the soot and the remnants of the fire extinguisher, or whatever, the chemicals that the fire department uses to put out fires was just bad alone. I wasn't in the fire. I wasn't even home, but smoke inhalation from the after effects was pretty painful and damaging. So I can imagine, these poor little animals just being in the line of it, and I mean, just, oh man, just being burned alive. That's not a quick and painless death. That's long and prolonged, and it hurts. And I mean, they're being burned from the inside out, from the like I said, the smoke inhalation, and their skin. Oh my gosh, could you imagine this death? This is painful for them. And the ones that are surviving, there's no water, there's now no more food or anything to sustain them, so they're gonna die of starvation too. It's just truly sad. We could sit here and talk about World War III and everything, but I think the important thing is to talk about this too. We could have World War III go on, but with the way Mother Earth is going, being treated right now, we're not going to have anything. Fighting is going to be worthless because, we're not going to have a home to fight for anymore. I mean, this year alone, it wasn't just Australia. We had the Amazon rainforest that had fires, and Indonesia, and California. I mean, California, they tend to bounce back though. But there's going to come to a point where California is not going to be able to bounce back anymore. You know, uh, it's a very sad reality that's coming here, is that, it's time to change. It's time to make a difference. It's time to think about what it is that we're doing to cause these things. I know there's a lot of people on here who don't believe in climate change, and they want to go after Greta Thunberg, who is only 16 years old. We have grown ass adults going after a 16-year-old who's trying to make a difference, which is pretty sad. Um, I mean, listen, she's a kid, and she has a lot of passion and feelings. I mean, she's a kid who wants to make sure that she leaves a legacy behind, that we tried. That's me too. I like to think of the idea that I tried, that I didn't just sit around and allow this to happen. That's why we have, animal rights activists and climate change activists and environmentalists and scientists. We have to look at the science of what's going on here. Um, we need to listen to these people because um, you know, that's what they're there for. They go to college for years and years and years, and they study these things. It's their specialty. I mean, Greta Thunberg is not a scientist, but you have to understand, in Sweden they teach their kids a different way. Here in the States, um, what we are taught what the government wants us to be taught. The teachers are forced to teach the things that the government wants us to be taught. Why do you think they don't, in K through 12, they don't teach the truth about Christopher Columbus? Christopher Columbus is no hero. He's no hero. He didn't do anything positive or wonderful. you know um but when you get to college, when I was in community college, in my early 20s, and they don't give that day off from school in college. Columbus Day is not a day off because they realize that Columbus is not who we think he is. It's the government that wants us to believe that Christopher Columbus is a good person, that he wasn't, a thief, or whatever it is he did there, but he is. That's what history tells us. They want us censored so we believe what they want us to believe. You know, and Christopher Columbus is just one example of it. So, the sad part of the whole Greta Thunberg thing is there was actually a earth science teacher who made threats towards her. A teacher, somebody who's supposed to be teaching our kids these very lessons. But other countries teach things differently. So, you can't blame her for that. I don't think, do I think she's brainwashed? I mean, no. I think she just has a lot of passion for, what it is that she has passion for. You know, she's not going around doing damage. She's not eating laundry detergent. She's not doing acts of defiance. She's being passionate about her planet and the animals, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm a veterinary assistant, and I don't work in the field anymore. I stopped working as a veterinary assistant because, you know, um, you know, uh, that's what I do. I I have a very big passion for animals, and unfortunately, I see, a lot of veterinarians and other people who work with animals not having the proper passion, or they have passion for things that are unethical. I saw that there was a veterinarian who trophy hunts. That doesn't make any sense. Um, I mean, I don't know. The way I see life is like when you're a veterinarian, it's kind of the same thing as being, a medical doctor. You know, if you were a medical doctor, are you gonna take home you have a cadaver. Morning, Steve. If you're a medical doctor, are you gonna take home one of your cadavers to eat for dinner? So the way I see it is veterinarians should, treat life that same way. I mean, let's face it, with like factory farming and such, they don't care about the animals on those farms. Do you really think that they bring veterinarians in when one of those animals are sick? I'm talking about factory farms. I'm not talking about small time, low key farms. I'm talking about factory farms like the big guys, like Tyson and um, what's that other one? Uh, Smithfield. No, they don't bring in veterinarians to take care of the animals because that would be costly. And they don't see them as beings. They see them as see you later, mate Moses. Well, Purdue, isn't that the one? Purdue, isn't that the one that was making their employees um, wear diapers? They were making their employees wear diapers because they don't have time to. Oh man, that one over there. Um, they were making their employees wear diapers because they don't have time to go to the bathroom. Now that's crazy because I worked for Estee Lauder. That was my first job out of high school. Now I worked in high school. I worked when I was in high school. I worked at McDonald's because that's what kids in high school do. They work at McDonald's or um, whatever it is that they do. Uh, um, but my first job out of high school, I worked for well, back then we called it Whitman Packaging. I worked for Estee Lauder for quite a few years, and I worked on it was a packaging plant. So I worked on the belts and stuff. Mm. I don't know. For whatever reason, I can't get a job at Stop and Shop, but that's okay. I didn't get the job at Target this Christmas either, but I took Marshall's. Oh, that reminds me. I have to take care of that too. Oh no. Remember I said I was gonna go call what's it who's it? I was gonna call oh, what's his name? Chuck Schumer about Marshalls. I just haven't had a moment to do that. I've been cleaning up the aftermath of Christmas vacation. I'm still not quite there yet, and I have to fill out my recertification papers for Section 8. Unfortunately, I think I will be staying here in this apartment another year. I have to bite it and take it and accept what's going on here. It is what it is. But I think what I'm going to do is, yeah, Hurricane Jacob. Well, he'll be back tomorrow, um, but yeah, so, um, I think that's one thing is that, while I don't want to stay in this apartment another year, I think, if I stay here another year, I think I could, really work on what I want to work on with YouTube. If I just stay here one more year, I'm not going to take it as a punishment. I'm going to take it as a blessing, as well as it's going to be a blessing, as well as uh, just a time to keep working and know that this isn't my final resting place. I can't stand this place. I can't stand the lady upstairs. I mean, they claim that they can't tell me what they're going to do with her. Whatever you say, um, that's not against HIPAA laws or anything like that. But whatever they want to claim. I mean, honestly, my fear with the lady upstairs is that she's gonna do something to herself. As well. Well, of course, she could, do stuff to me and the other lady upstairs. But honestly, I worry that she's so mentally far gone that she's gonna end up doing something to herself, and there's gonna be a tragedy here. with her. Um, and I know I shouldn't care, but I do because I don't want to. First of all, um, I care because hey Dylan, good morning. I care because there's another lady upstairs, um, that would have to live with that. Um, live with the fact that this lady offed herself in that apartment, and she's going to live with, you know, that happening in her own home. Um, that would be very traumatic for me as well, even though I don't live up there. But the idea of that happening would be very sad and scary to me. I just, but, see, I am doing good, Dylan. See, how are you? I mean, that's the other thing is, um, what these people aren't realizing is that usually, in the case of mental illness, you know, um, when somebody is, reacting to, um, awesome. Was it a good shopping trip? Awesome. I'm gonna do a little shopping later when I go take care of the cats. If you guys want kitty cat videos, I guess I will work on that. I'll get you guys a kitty cat video. Um, so we'll see how that goes. It depends on them. I was told that I could put the little kitties in a shopping cart and walk them around the store. So maybe we'll see with that. Yeah, okay. So I'll see what I can do. It depends on. I will be going there today and tomorrow morning. So we'll see how they are today. These guys are really teeny tiny. This is Billow, Billy and Willow. Oh wow! Look at this. Look at this. Here we go. I'm seeing an article. 24 people have been arrested for deliberately setting bushfires in Australia. Oh boy. Are these people adding, or this is the reason to it? I mean, just so y'all know, if you don't know, because you don't live in Australia, they're below, yeah, yeah. Well, we have two kitties. They're actually they're brother and sister. So the girl is Willow, and the brother is the sister is Willow. And good morning, Joe. And the brother is Billy. So I guess I just did one of those Hollywood things. Look at this. 24 people are facing charges for deliberately setting bushfires in Australia this season. Oh wow! So that's during this whole season. Since nearly November, this New South Wales police force has arrested 24 people for deliberately setting fires. Wow. So this whole thing could possibly be not just a natural thing. This could possibly be hmm, that's sad and scary to know that there are people out there who may have contributed to this mess. Ugh, all those poor little animals. Oh man. Oh boy, could you believe that? All those little animals who are suffering from, smoke inhalation. I mean, it's smoke inhalation and burning to death. That is a very slow and painful death. And here's this other, oh, this is what we were just talking about. Here's the article. This is from Yahoo News this morning. So, now, just so you know, the Prime Minister of Australia is very against climate change. Sound familiar? Um, Listen, good morning, Tommy. You could be anti-climate change, but not be a douche canoe. You could be for, making changes without being a fan. You don't have to believe in climate change. Just do the right thing. I mean, this guy, with the New Year's Eve thing, they still had the fireworks, knowing that their whole continent is on fire. These animals are dying slow and painful deaths. These people are losing their home. Good morning, AGP Garden Machines. It's just a flat out sad thing. And now this is what I was just talking about. This is published today. So a document on this is what they're telling the police in Australia here is a document advising first responders. First responders, that means these are medics, cops, firemen, all that. A document advising first responders to kill baby koalas and kangaroos that survived the bushfires is causing distress among those working to save them. Isn't this terrible? These people take oaths to save lives, but there's a document that's advising the first responders to kill baby koalas and kangaroos. Now, this is from Yahoo, so this is reliable stuff. Let's see, the Victorian Response Plan for Wildlife Impacted by Fires directs that the rehabilitation of orphan milk-dependent joeys from these common species found in the fire zone is not supported. Yeah, hey, Real Brooklyn. Contrary to established practice, the plan urges against handing the animals to wildlife volunteers, stating these animals require significant long-term care and cannot be successfully returned to the wild. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. I mean, I think that these people who take these animals in are trained. They've been doing this for ages, you know. I mean, my fear is that the government plan goes on to describe methods of euthanasia, which include lethal injection, blunt force trauma, and shooting. Oh my God, isn't this terrible? This is what this world has come to. It's bad enough that these fires are going on in Australia. But now, and koalas are now functionally extinct, which means that there are still some alive, but there's not enough to produce heirs to continue their continue on. So now they're saying that the government wants them to euthanize the baby koalas and kangaroos and other animals because they're claiming that it would be these animals would not be able to be returned to the wild. Well, no, they can't be returned to the wild right now because there's no wild to be returned to. That's a sad reality of it. But does that mean that they deserve to die? Are we really gonna sit here and play God? That's not how this works, man. Oh man, isn't this is just despicable. So I mean, you know, my fear is that these animals are going to be forced into a life of a cage. That is sad. But you know what? You can create a wildlife refuge or sanctuary where these animals can still live a relatively normal life, can probably still have human care if needed. But this is just a sad thing to be doing. We're just going to kill off babies, baby koalas, and they're not even giving them a fighting chance at that rate, you know. That's terrible. That's just oh my goodness. So while we're saying that these animals are well, I don't know about the kangaroos. That hasn't been that that part hasn't been. I don't know if they've said if they're extinct or functionally extinct. I'm sure they're definitely endangered at this point. um you know But this is literally playing God with these animals. At that rate, we're literally like dooming them, to extinction, because if they're just gonna kill off the babies, I mean, gosh, grief. These animals, they're just coming into the world, which they should be coming into the world. Their mothers have died, and now we're gonna put them out of their misery. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure, when it comes to like these rescues and stuff, they know what they're doing. They've been doing this for if they're found on the ground, on the fire ground, they're shot. That's oh, that's just terrible. That's just terrible. Could you imagine this inferno, this hell on earth in Australia that's going on? These animals are being burnt alive, and then we're just gonna, whoever's left, we're just gonna. We need those babies to live. Those babies need to live. That's they can. There's a lot. That's a big thing with, like, I'm gonna with SeaWorld, is that they feel like, the animals can't, well, first of all, SeaWorld, they took a lot of these animals from the wild and, made them, dependent on them, and not because they were, they were injured or anything like that. They just took them. That's back, how SeaWorld originally happened, is they took the animals from the wild and put them in there, and then they, they do all kinds of, you know, breeding things, so those animals, they say that they can't be, rehabilitated and released. But there's definitely ways of doing things. There's a wonderful organization called the Whale Sanctuary Project. They're looking to build a whale dolphin sanctuary in in between Maine and Nova Scotia, so that the orcas and dolphins and beluga whales from SeaWorld, they may not be able to go full blown wild, but they would have these sanctuaries where they could still live a semi normal life. They could hunt for their own food. They could just feel the real ocean current under their, flippers and such. So, I mean, I know that the National Aquarium was looking to do the same for their dolphins. I think that's being halted at the moment. Keiko from Free Willy, he was rehabilitated. He went home. He died in the wild on his own, happy and free. It's not, and then there's also there's another orca that her name is Springer. She was injured or sick, and she was brought in, and they they rehabilitated her and released, and she's doing quite well. So it's not totally not doable. Now, in the case of, well, unfortunately, in the case of, depending on what kind of orcas we're talking about, like we have the southern resident orcas, or which are the species of orca that live in the BC Canada area. Unfortunately, those orcas are suffering because there is a lack of salmon, so they are starving to death. Um, Unfortunately, I don't like seafood, so you know, um, I'm okay with leaving salmon where they are so the orcas could eat it. I don't like seafood. I mean, a lot of people out there will turn around and say, "Oh, well, can't they be trained to eat something else?" Is that how life is supposed to be? Is that we have to train a wild animal to eat something that is foreign to them because we're being greedy? You know, Captain Paul Watson from the Sea Shepherd has said it best, that when the oceans die, we die, and we're basically just, we're just literally on the brink of destroying everything. It's so sad. And what's going on in Australia, that's extinction at its finest, and unfortunately extinction is forever. I mean, it's very hard to come back from that. It's permanent. You really can't change it. Once it's done, it's done. And and that's sad. It truly is sad. And I mean, I hope that they really don't. I really hope that they don't do this, killing the little babies, because they're gonna become, I don't think they're really gonna be 100% dependent on humans. Unfortunately, with this whole fire thing is, most of these animals, the good old saying is that they're more afraid of us than we're afraid of them. Now it's comes to the point where they have to beg for help because they're in pain and suffering, and they need help. You know, I'm sure in normal life, a a koala would normally run away in fear of these people, but now they're begging for help. And oh my gosh, these little babies, they're gonna, oh, isn't that so sad? That's what this world has come to, that we're gonna just put them out of our misery because they can't go back to the wild. It's true, they can't go back to the wild because there's no wild for them to go back to. They're wild, they're home. The reality of life at this point in time. Uh, I hope that's it's just so sad. It's so sad that this is going on. Oh, some people are saying that Yahoo is wrong. I hope they're wrong, because killing baby animals because we're just horrible beings and destroying everything is that would be sad. Um, mm, um, so we need to do better. We really need to do better. Even if you do like a meatless Monday, do a meatless Monday. Do a meatless Monday and Friday. Boy, wait, isn't or we have Lent coming up. Lent's coming up sooner or later. I don't know when Easter is this year. They tend to put Easter wherever they feel like it, but Lent is coming up. Do better. Go meatless for the whole time, not just Friday. Do your best to not eat. Do your best to not eat something that's made from Monsanto or palm oil or things like that. Maybe if we like cut back on the things that are destroying this planet, just for even for a little while, maybe we can make a comeback here. But Australia, this is just the saddest. Um, this is just the saddest. Um, we could sit here and talk about World War III. I'm not going to talk about World War III because, um, I just don't think. I don't think that. That's. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. And the sad part is Australia is now in their summertime. So Australia is currently in their summertime. So it's going to get hotter over there. They've been having a big heat wave over there. So unfortunately, this fire thing may go on for quite some time because they are literally uh heading off into their summer. So I can only imagine what's going to become of all this. These poor little animals, good grief. Could you just imagine this whole mess? I mean, it's bad enough that the animals live in fear of us as is, but now they're going to live in fear of us because we're destroying their home. Oh, gosh. We literally have doomed those animals in Australia. Um, Definitely a very sad thing. So let's say here in the States, let's try to do something different. Let's try to find some way. Um, Hold on one second. Um, you know, um, let's do something. I mean, I know here in New York State, we have officially banned plastic bags. Unfortunately, there's still plastic bags in the store, but as of January 1st, we are banning plastic bags. So, we have that going for us. I mean, it's a start. I thought I saw something about banning plastic utensils and straws. Now, that's another thing. That's another thing that people have been talking about is the banning of plastic straws. Um, now, with plastic straws, people are upset because the idea that handicapped people need straws to drink their coffee and things like that. Now, of course, a metal straw would be not a good idea for hot coffee, but they are making silicone straws, so there is that at least. I have not tried a silicone straw. I am medically not supposed to be drinking from a straw. When you have weight loss surgery, drinking from straws is a null and void kind of thing because of the air bubbles. They get the air that passes through and it can get caught up and be rather painful. So So yeah. So we need to, let's try to do some better. Let's try to do some better. And just simple things like that. Simple fixes like I said, a simple fix, just etching something out of your day, like, a little less plastic. Go plastic free. Don't support Monsanto. Don't support food items with palm oil. Palm oil is a big problem. That's with palm oil comes the fires in Indonesia. They have to burn down the forests to deal with that. So if you could avoid palm oil right now, that would probably one of the best things you could start out with, is to etch out the palm oil. Yeah. So, it's simple things that we can do and change. So, with that said, I am going to end the live here. And I will see you guys tonight. I'm not sure what time just yet, but I am going to do game night. We're going to play Living in a Bucket, Sleep in a Bucket, and we're going to play the Would You Rather game. So, last night we only had 2 people in the live. So if I really don't want to post when I'm going to go live on my community tab out of fear of getting swatted and things. So, but I will. I'm going to drop the link to the Facebook page that I have for my channel. If you follow me on Instagram, I do post about my lives in like the daily story thing. But if you go on this, my Facebook page for YouTube, my YouTube channel, I will promote your videos. I talk about what things are going to come on my channel, subscription box wise. That's another thing is, just before I forget, is I was going to do the Imperfect Foods weekly box. The only downside to doing that was I went to do the selection process yesterday, and there just wasn't anything to select. So it wasn't really good selections. So, but if you're a vegan, they are really good. They have a lot of Beyond Burgers and things like that. My kids don't like the Beyond Burger. I like the Beyond Burger, but so it just wasn't financially doable at this point in time. So the link to my Miss Kelly Facebook page is in the chat. If you want to see updates for channel updates, if you want to join the Sunnies, please send me an email. We'd like to maybe do a Valentine's Day collab. If you want to do like, if you don't want to be a Sunny and you want to do like, maybe we could do like a Valentine's Day swap, just in general, because Valentine's Day stinks for people. I'd like to do that. So anyways, I will see you guys later. I may, don't quote me on this, I may do a taxi cab live today. I might. It depends on whether or not the cab driver has music playing on the way home. If there's no music playing on the way home, I may be able to do a live coming home. So I will see you guys later. Remember, kindness is free, so spread that.